Black Ops 6 may not have much going for it at the moment besides the current events, and with Season 4 still a few weeks away, that's about all we'll see minus the upcoming next week with another event for the Call of Duty Endowment, and perhaps a surprise update which we'll cover in a day or two. But today though, I want to take a look at a few leaks in regards to the upcoming content that you can expect to see in the near future. Whether Season 4 or beyond, those details are still a little up in the air. But for now, let's get into it. Drop a like if you enjoy, make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 and other FPS coverage. But today's information comes from Alex, a leaker who's been around in the scene for ages at this point, so his information does have some credibility behind it, and the information comes directly from the game files. Today we're going to be covering weaponry, operators, and a little bit of some discussion about zombies maps in the future here. So as for the weaponry, Alex ended up detailing that we'd see a handful of weapons from the game files of Season 3 Reloaded and what we can see going into the future. Now again, when these come out in particular, some will be Season 4, some will be Season 5, and a little bit later perhaps, but we have the weapon listings of AR Fresno, SM Lisbon, DM Erie, AR Aspen, AR Milan, SH Olav, LM Mesa, KS M202, ME Pickaxe, and ME B Knuckles. So first, as a prerequisite, let's talk about the prefixes here and how to understand what these listings are from the game files. T10, as you'll see on screen, is the designation of the game itself, Black Ops 6, and then you'll have the prefixes of AR being assault rifle, SM being SMG, DM being a marksman rifle in this case, SH being a shotgun, LM being an LMG, KS being a kill streak, and ME being a melee. So with that out of the way, we can kind of deduce a little further what some of these may or may not be. According to Alex, the KS M202 is the Grim Reaper kill streak from Black Ops 1. The SH Olav is apparently the Olympia, which that one actually we've seen in the safe house of Black Ops 6's campaign since the launch of the game, so the model's been there for quite some time. Also indicative as to why you might see further prefixes of P11 versus P40s and P50s of the other weapons, that just being that it's something that was in the game earlier. And then the others are obvious, like the pickaxe is going to be the pickaxe. The B Knuckles is going to be the brass knuckles. So that said, there are a few others that I kind of think we can maybe pick apart here, like the SM Lisbon. I think this one could be the FPB SMG from Portugal. Lisbon perhaps being an indicator for, of course, the capital of Portugal. But the FPB would be a visual cross of the MP40 and the M3 Grease Gun SMG. Another option could be the Lusa, again, another Portuguese weapon by design. The AR Milan is possibly the Beretta AR-70, though what we have to keep in mind is a lot of people are gravitating towards this, saying it's going to be the Milano SMG, but it doesn't have the designation of SMG, so I wouldn't get my hopes up for that being the Cold War Milano returning. And then the others, well, it's a bit more of a mystery as to what those could be, but we have a handful of different weapons here available across the upcoming seasons that there's still a healthy number of weapons to look forward to, and a lot of these being more so weapons that I think are useful in almost all situations, like an AR and SMG versus a melee or a shotgun or something like that. And if you're a camo grinder, you're probably going to want to gravitate towards more doing another AR rather than another melee weapon if you're still doing things like Dark Matter, Nebula, or Abyss. So that said, that's your weapons. As for operators, Alex ended up detailing 4 upcoming ones here, seemingly for Season 4, of Doberman, Stitch, Corgi, and Poodle. Now, Stitch is a more obvious standout one here at this. We have had a character named Stitch as the main antagonist here in the post-launch story of Black Ops Cold War, but he ended up dying. But according to Alex, this is going to be the main operator for Season 4, the entire season thematically revolving around Stitch somehow. Narratively, I'm not entirely sure how this will work, but we have seen recently flashbacks in seasons, like this entire season of Season 3 has been a flashback of sorts, so I don't think that it'll break continuity per se, though, I mean, I'll probably end up eating those words with things like a recent retcon of the Verdansk nuke and the mini Easter egg in Verdansk currently detailing that it actually never went off, but the others being thematically similar would indicate that it's something for another collaboration of sorts, but honestly, not entirely sure what that would be as a whole. The Doberman reference makes me think that this is again going to be Snoop Dogg, both for his own representations in the past, but also the fact we had a Black Cell Doberman variant of Snoop Dogg as well in Call of Duty here the last couple of years. So if they're themed, could it be another collective collaboration like the 50 years of hip hop we saw within Modern Warfare 2 with Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj, and 21 Savage? It's possible, but there's also unrelated rumors of a Mission Impossible and Doom crossover for Season 4. But that information, if we're on the money with the Doberman poll, would not make any sense as to what that would be. So we'll have to wait and see. This is all pure speculation, but those appear to be your Season 4 operators, likely not all coming at the same time, bear in mind. Stitch, of course, being your Battle Pass operator, maybe one or two thrown in the mix that aren't added with this update, but then we could also see in-season updates like how we've had Cheech and Chong, how we ended up having Seth Rogen here in Season 3 most recently. Odd ones, of course, yeah, but still kind of illustrating the point of the timed rollout of different operators. And then finally, zombies. This is where things get kind of interesting, and frankly, there's a lot of information that is up for maybe debate. I'm not sure if that's the best wording for it, but we have a couple of conflicting reports. Alex has mentioned that as of right now, there's no new maps planned beyond what we have for one final map in the Zombies content year of support. That only one more is listed in those game files. 7 are listed, but that would be the 2 from launch, Liberty Falls and Terminus, Citadel de Mor, The Tomb, and Shattered Vale. Then there are 2 others listed, but you also have to bear in mind the names of those game files. Garnet is listed twice because that's Liberty Falls. And then the secondary Garnet of Garnet_JH is the Christmas themed variation we saw for the holiday events here in Zombies, thus leaving only 1 left over in the game files for now. And this has caused some drama in the leaking space, as of course, no one wants their credibility brought into question and their leaks to be disproven. But others like Semtex Leaks and The Ghost of Hope, both of whom have credible track records as well, also insist that this isn't the last map and there's still multiple more coming. And logically, I think that kind of makes sense to expect more than just one based on the timeline of releases we've seen thus far this year. Save for like one possible surprise twist in a, I don't know if ideal world is the best way to put it, but we'll get there in a second. But 1 per season still would make sense. Maybe just not seeing the rest of these added into the game files just yet. Because front-loading content as heavy as we've seen thus far would be very, very surprising in terms of management from Treyarch here for Black Ops 6. To have every single Zombies map in your first 3, maybe 4 seasons, and then nothing for Season 5 or 6, or maybe you take 1 more season off and there's not one in Season 4, but there is one in 5. It'd be weird to have so much pushed at the front end of that content year of support when, realistically, for a live service game, you want to elongate that player time throughout the year as much as possible. So while we haven't seen it just yet, perhaps it's possible to see things added later beyond this Season 3 Reloaded update, and maybe in Season 4 we see another map added in the game files. Those things can be progressively added at any time really, but it's just kind of admittedly weird that we haven't seen anything that hints towards that just yet. So what are the possible outcomes here? Well, I think there's a couple of different ways we could take this. Maybe we still, by some miracle, do still see 1 map per season, where we have a map launching at Season 4, 5, and 6. Maybe we see something that it's almost a map per season, where we have 1, maybe 2 more maps here, that we have Janus Towers as the next map, and then 1 final resolution map, which would mean skipping 1 season here or so of content for Zombies, which would be more in line with traditional support we've seen the last couple of years. But maybe, just maybe, there's this tinfoil hat theory that would be pretty cool if it happened. I'm not expecting it right up front, and we haven't seen anything credible actually pointing towards this being the case, but it's a theory that I think would be pretty crazy and kind of cool if it happened. Maybe you have 1 map left, but then there's this big giant surprise of Zombies Chronicles 2. And yes, I know that is very much so out of left field, but kind of a copium theory that I've seen that would be really cool to see actually. And also makes a little sense to me if that were to be the case here, because we haven't seen another Chronicles since 2017. Actually, the 8-year mark is actually this upcoming week, May 16th. That's kind of crazy to me when you consider how many maps we've seen in that time and how many maps still could be remastered classics returning for maybe a second time here, progressing the storyline and trying to relink everything back together, seeing that we now have these different Ether, Chaos, and Dark Ether storylines that are seemingly trying to weave their way together now. That could be a way you end up doing it. But since day 1 of the rumor that we'd see Black Ops 7 being that year 2 pendulum swing of Black Ops again, I thought that would have been a great way to end up sort of bolstering out your content offering. Hell, I'd probably buy Black Ops 7 just for a Zombies Chronicles if they said that's how your Zombies is going to be handled with this year. Right up front, you get 8 classic maps returning. That's your Zombies offering at launch. I think that'd be so cool, and I'd be on board entirely. But based off all the rumors we've seen thus far, it doesn't appear like that's going to be the case. But the other theory that's growing now, again, probably a copium theory, but would be kind of cool to see, is that maybe Zombies Chronicles 2, if it does happen, again, very far shot. I don't want this to sound like I'm co-signing this as something that is going to happen, but if it does, it wouldn't be surprising if they do something like this as a pre-order bonus, something that eventually will be a standalone sort of purchase you can get by itself. A little shady to incentivize pre-orders and pre-purchases, but they've done kind of stuff like that in the past. The Back in Black maps for Black Ops 3 going into Black Ops 4 were only accessible to those that pre-purchased the game, so it wouldn't be the first time we've seen this kind of stuff, and it'd be a meaningful offering, I think, in the existing game to get you ready for what's upcoming. So maybe there is only one more original Zombies map left, but maybe there's also a little bit more. Anyways, again, all over the place, and why I said this kind of gets interesting when you dig into some of these theories that are going on out there, or things that could work well, but may just more, again, be tinfoil hat theories. We'll have to wait and see, but that is your leaks as of Season 3 Reloaded. Some cool stuff to look forward to across weaponry, operators, and maybe zombies, but let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to anything in particular? Anything you'd like to see happen? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 and other FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.